what happened? Keyshawn Davis has just weighed in 4.3 pounds over the limit, in which he was supposed to be taking on Edwin De Los Santos to defend his WBO lightweight belt and what would have been his toughest test to date. But since Davis missed weight, the fight has been cancelled and he's also been stripped of his belt. So we need to talk about Keyshawn Davis.
But before we get into that, we're Punch Talk and to bring you active combat sports videos. So if you enjoy the content, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to help support the channel. So Keyshawn Davis at 13-0 in his career claimed a world title this year against Baranchyk, who was undefeated as well, and made it look easy, knocking him out in the 4th round. Keyshawn Davis has so much potential as a boxer. So many see him as a future pound for pound talent of the sport, and when he's going up against a proven tough guy from the Dominican Republic, Edwin De Los Santos, who most notably gave Shakur Stevenson a very good fight, one of the toughest fights in Shakur's career, at least one of the closest, considering that was the fight Shakur got the most flack for what everyone called running away, not wanting to engage with Edwin De Los Santos whatsoever. We know he has pop, we know he has power. 14 KOs out of his 16 wins, never been stopped, never been knocked out. He stopped Rayo Valenzuela a couple years ago as well. So Edwin De Los Santos has been proven to be at the top of the lightweight division, even though he's been pretty inactive and has been fighting pretty inconsistently. He was supposed to get in the ring with Keyshawn, and instead he gets on the scales, misses weight by an embarrassing margin. 4.3 pounds overweight when you're supposed to defend at 135 pounds. It's just not a great look, not professional at all. And he responded pretty much saying that he's kind of outgrown the lightweight division, and now it's all led to the fight getting canceled. I don't really know if it's valid from Keyshawn Davis. This happens a lot. Sometimes guys get injured, sometimes guys get sick, can't really cut all the weight, but at that point, why even fight? And especially considering Keyshawn Davis looked like it kind of seemed like an intentional move, with many thinking he's going to move up to 140 anyways, and that he's trying to get as much of an advantage as possible against Edwin De Los Santos, and instead it backfired, leaving him without a fight and kind of just tarnishing his name, even though he's so early on into his career and only 13-0.
Yeah, this is definitely a very bad and unprofessional look for Keyshawn Davis, and you'd think he'd have that professionalism to come and make weight, and especially not miss weight by that big of a margin like you said. Granted that he has all that amateur and Olympic pedigree, but coming in and missing weight so early in your career in a very important fight, regardless of if you were thinking about moving up prior to this fight anyways, you signed the contract, you knew you had to make weight, and with this being the outcome, it's bound to just have a lot of criticism, which is definitely very fair. And at first, when Keyshawn Davis missed weight, they were trying to come to an agreement to still fight, still get this fight going, but they just couldn't get to the agreement, and De Los Santos made the right move and didn't accept the fight at terms that he would be significantly disadvantaged at, much lighter weight, and lessens the odds of him getting a chance to win this. And that's also unfortunate because even though Keyshawn missed weight, only De Los Santos had the chance to still fight for the vacant title, and he would have had an opportunity to become champion in this fight if he had won. But now with it canceled, at least the shining light is he's still going to be making his purse money for the fight, and however Keyshawn Davis will not. But it's just a very bad direction and something that would have been a great step for Davis's career. Still, many believe he would have won the fight, but that's just not how you want it to go down. You want to make your mark in the ring and not have all this outside nonsense that isn't actually pure boxing ability. But a big part of the sport and of boxing, of course, is you have to make weight. You have to be professional every fight. You have to come in and make the agreed weight. And what looks for sure is he's going to be moving up. He's going to be at a higher weight class now. Hopefully no more issues like this is going to happen. But this would have been a very exciting hype fight in which we definitely would have saw Davis's hardest fight yet. Like you said, Santos has a lot of credit for giving Shakur a tough battle. Shakur running away from him the entire time. So it would have been interesting to see if Davis could have put on a better performance, as he's one of these guys in the picture now, these young US light guys in boxing now trying to make their mark in the sport. And it would have been an exciting one to see if Davis can really compete in the pros with the likes of Shakur, Haney. So it's just going to be postponed to see how good he really is, and for sure he's going to be getting a different opponent now.
Yeah, I mean, Keyshawn Davis has been calling out Gervonta Davis for the battle of the last name, but it doesn't seem like that's going to happen anytime soon, with Keyshawn Davis now having to move up to 140. He's not going to be fighting at 135 anytime soon. And obviously he's never fighting Shakur Stevenson. They both come out and said they'd never fight each other. He's had that Olympic rivalry with Andy Cruz, but Cruz is fighting at 135. So where does Keyshawn go from here? There's been a lot of rivalry between him and Teofimo Lopez, so that could definitely be a route that they decide to go down if they can secure that fight, with negotiations between Teofimo and Haney falling through recently. So maybe if you're Keyshawn Davis, moving up up in weight, you want to look at maybe a Teofimo Lopez, maybe a Ryan Garcia, maybe a Devin Haney, like you said. There are still options and maybe even bigger names, but also going up against bigger opponents, bigger guys. And Keyshawn Davis actually experienced this himself on the opposite end. When he was fighting last year against Gustavo Daniel Lemos, Lemos came in 7 pounds overweight, missed weight, and Keyshawn Davis still took the fight, still accepted, and still knocked him out in 2 rounds. So Keyshawn maybe wanted to take that same approach, thinking that Edwin De Los Santos would just agree to the weight, agree to the disadvantage, but instead Edwin De Los Santos doesn't take the fight. We've seen this a couple times, especially recently in the sport, most notably maybe with Ryan Garcia and Devin Haney, when Ryan Garcia came in 3 pounds overweight in that fight when they were supposed to fight at 140. This is an even bigger weight miss than that for Keyshawn Davis at a lighter division. Just not a great look overall. Now that fight between Ryan and Devin did actually go through, and this one's not, but a lot of the time when you see a guy that doesn't cut as much weight as their opponent, doesn't have that big of a disadvantage, definitely has a major edge in the fight. So who knows what's going to happen next for Keyshawn Davis? Is he going to get a big fight after he just missed weight, after that fight just got canceled? This was supposed to be his showcase fight. He was a massive favorite. Now he's not even on the card. Abdullah Mason now is the main event. This whole card kind of went to shambles after he missed weight, and now after this fight is completely off, canceled. It's tough for the businessman, a young guy who's in his prime, who's looking to get fight after fight, be active, but he's obviously going to have to move up in weight and try to get his career back on track, because this definitely leaves a bad taste in the mouth of pretty much all the fans. And to be honest, it's hard to feel sorry for Keyshawn Davis in this situation. Edwin De Los Santos was the one who was getting the opportunity to fight for the titles, was getting the opportunity to cause a huge upset, to make a huge name for himself, to make a splash, potentially take Keyshawn Davis's undefeated record, but now he doesn't even get that chance. He's also a young guy looking to build up in the division. He's 25 years old, even younger than Keyshawn Davis is, and you just gotta feel for Edwin De Los Santos. He's now even more inactive than he already was. By the time he probably has his next fight, he's not gonna have been in the ring for probably about 2 years.
Yeah, for sure, and it's still just detriment to his own personal growth and his career. If he wants to soon take on the names like you were saying, Teofimo Lopez, Devin Haney, even Gervonta Davis, how likely it is or not, he needs these fights against these tested, good fighters. So if Keyshawn really wants to progress and keep on growing to reach that top level, for sure he's got to have these fights, and him missing out, wasting time in his career, wasting these fights he should have been having, and instead not getting them to go, not getting his name out there by having these events for himself to get the showcase KOs, possibly these highlights. It's just a huge waste for him, in which he should be improving, getting better, getting that in-ring experience, and facing some very tough guys out there. I'm sure it's still going to happen fairly soon in his career. He's being pushed very heavily, which makes sense considering his skill set for sure. But again, just wasted opportunity in something that should have happened, and as well, boxing fans are definitely going to be critiquing him for some time to come. And usually, regardless if it's even one time, when a fighter misses weight, especially this bad, people don't forget and they like to hold it against them for a very long time. But we're going to have to see. Keyshawn's probably going to have to win back some of the fans in his upcoming performances. He's still young, so maybe it was just one little mishap, but you got to ensure that this type of stuff is not happening again for sure, and it's just a one-off. But let us know down below what you think of Keyshawn Davis missing weight and the fight being cancelled. And if you want to check out more boxing on the channel, be sure to click on the screen now. Usyk versus Dubois 2 will not end well.